Later this morning, the Wisconsin Supreme Court will hear hours of argument in a high-stakes case regarding redistricting in one of the nation's most contentious battleground states. NBC News correspondent Shaq Brewster now joins us from Madison. Shaq, good morning to you. So explain why we're having a court hearing in the first place and how we got here.
Well, we talk about this redistricting process every 10 years or so. After the census comes out, the states are responsible for redrawing their congressional and legislative lines. Well, in the state of Wisconsin, that responsibility falls on the legislature and is supposed to be approved by the governor. But here in Wisconsin, you're talking about a Republican legislature and a Democratic governor that have not agreed on anything. So because the governor vetoed the legislative lines by the legislature, this now falls on to the court. And what you have is you see that map right there. That's the current existing map here in Wisconsin. Democrats are saying that map builds in an advantage for Republicans, an advantage that they have seen in the past 10 years, despite Democrats winning here in statewide elections. Think about President Biden. Think about the governor, Tony Evers, both Democrats. Republicans are asking the court to keep that map as close to the existing map as possible while making some slight modifications.
So, Shaq, this is the first time in more than half a century Wisconsin is looking to redraw its map instead of relying on a federal court. So what's the state looking to achieve here?
Exactly. There have been these kind of impasses before where the legislature is different. The party holding the legislature is different than the party holding power at the governor's mansion. And usually the state Supreme Court deferred to the federal court and let the federal court draw those lines. Well, for the first time since 1964, before the Voting Rights Act, the state Supreme Court is saying they want to take responsibility of drawing those lines. And, you know, they already handed, this is a conservative court, they already handed Republicans a major win. Back in November, late November, they said that they are not going to consider partisan fairness as they draw these new lines. I think we have that graphic from the majority opinion right there. And you see that last line. They explain it, but they say because partisan fairness presents a purely political question, we will not consider it. They explain that it's hard to exactly figure out how to determine and measure party fairness. Well, in the minority opinion or the dissenting opinion, the court came back and you had justices on that court saying that refusing to consider the partisan effects only increases the risk that the court will be used intentionally or not to achieve partisan ends. This is especially true when our starting point is 2011's indisputably partisan maps. And you hear them mention indisputably partisan maps. Well, it was just in 2016 that you had a federal court say that the maps were unconstitutional because of the partisan advantage that was built into them. That was eventually brought up to the Supreme Court, and there was an issue over standing and the person bringing that lawsuit. But these are maps that are obviously partisan. They have benefited Republicans even when Democrats have won in that year at a statewide level. And that's why you have many people bringing this up to the Supreme Court and asking them to at least make minor changes that helps retilt that partisan balance.
So, Shaq, what are the next steps then following today's court hearing?
Well, we're going to have hours and hours of hearings today, hours and hours of arguments today in front of the Supreme Court. Within the next couple of weeks, we should expect this court to present their maps. Now, all hope is not lost for Democrats. The federal court says they are watching this process. They haven't dismissed a lawsuit that was brought by Democrats. So if Democrats don't like the result, which most likely they will not like it because the court has already said they're not considering partisan fairness, they will then be able to bring that to the federal court for them to make some maps. The big deadline here, according to the Elections Commission, is March 1st. That's when they want to have these official maps set, Joe.
Shaq, we know you'll be on it all day. Thank you so much.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.